Episode 9 of Miss Incognito begins at the moment when Gil-ho is about to shoot Yang. Yang has already closed her eyes when suddenly the lights go out. Before Gil-ho can react, Dong-min arrives, throws his torch and hits Gil-ho, then attacks him. He then tries to wake them up, and an intense fight breaks out between the two men. Dong-min quickly grabs the gun and points it at Gil-ho. Just then they hear police sirens. Gil-ho smiles and runs away. The next moment, Haiji is being taken away in an ambulance. Taemin and the others are panicked. Police officer questions Dong-min, asking whether he saw the culprit. Dong-min identifies Gil-ho and then asks who reported it. The officer says Haiji made a panicked call and they rushed here. Dong-min then gets into the ambulance. So Yang watches the ambulance leave, hiding her face. Gil-ho manages to slip away from Machang. At the hospital, Dong-min stays with an unconscious Yang. The principal calls Dong-min, so he steps outside to speak. Meanwhile, Yang regains consciousness and sits up. Dong-min comes to her and she asks about Haiji. Dong-min tells her Haiji is in surgery, so Yang goes to see her and finds Taemin praying for Haiji's recovery. Yang feels very guilty and leaves. Lee Dan, who has been worried, receives a call from Yang. She tells him Gil-ho has escaped and Haiji was injured and asks her to transfer to Seoul. She tells him to revise their plan. Lee Dan agrees. He then tells his men to quickly look for Cien not to waste time, and the gangster leader complains that no one respects them. He orders his men to look for the cab company from where Cien took taxi while escaping hotel. We see Yang return home and find that her mother has taken money from a suitcase and run away. Yang tries calling her, but the call won't connect. While checking her things, Ju-won arrives and thinks Yang is leaving. AMD asks her. Yang explains she has some work to do that requires her to go away for a while. Ju-won asks for her number so they can talk every day. Yang writes her number on his hand. Ju-won asks about the bracelet he gave her. Yang shows it to him. He's happy and promises to make another one for her, asking her to always wear it because it's a lucky bracelet. He made her promise, and Yang puts the bracelet on. Next scene, the doctors are taking Haiji away. Taemin asks them what they're doing, and the doctors tell him they're transferring her to Gaseong Hospital in Seoul. They explain that an agent of Kim Young-ran contacted them and asked that Taemin accompany Haiji as her guardian. Dong-min realizes that Yang arranged this, and he runs home. When he arrives, the house looks empty and he understands that Yang left without telling him. Yang returns home and Lee Dan greets her and brings her inside. Butler Choi and Cheol-soo are taking something out again. Seeing her they are startled. Lee Dan tells them to make food for Madam and leaves. Yang also goes. Then they go to Chairman's secret place. She asks about Haiji. Lee Dan tells her that, just as she said, Haiji has been transferred to their hospital. Yang asks him to take good care of Haiji and then asks about the kindergarten. Lee Dan says his sister will handle it and they hired a new teacher, someone who really graduated from a good university. Then Lee Dan asks Yang about her new plan. Yang explains her plan that she will confront Cien directly and keep her busy while Lee Dan secretly gathers video evidence of Cien. To do that she'll hold a press conference and reveal her identity publicly. Lee Dan is shocked and he says what if he can't get video evidence of Cien and the plan fails. Then he suspects she only wants Chairman's inheritance and live in comfort and asks what will happen to Chairman revenge. Yang replies that Chairman wanted revenge for his daughter, so if everything fails, she will kill Cien herself. Outside the Gaseong Art Center, Gil-ho is waiting and goes to meet Cien. Cien, who is at her vanity, hears a knock and opens the gate. We see a flashback in the past. Cien came to give therapy to prisoners and chose Gil-ho, whose real name was Gilte. Officer warns her that he's dangerous. He killed his parents as a teenager and has no remorse on his face. Still, Cien chooses him and begins therapy, asking him to remember the day he killed his mother and to relive it. She approaches him and takes on the role of his mother, shouting at him, calling him useless, blaming him for being born, and telling him to go die. Gil-ho, believing her to be his mother, asks what else she did besides giving birth. Cien slaps him, then screams. Gil-ho is triggered and starts screaming too and attacks Cien, but others restrain him. Cien continues to insist they be gentle with Gil-ho and helps him up, whispering in his ear that his parents were devils and that if she had been in his place she would have done the same. For the first time Gil-ho felt someone is like him. Some time later he is released from jail and Cien congratulated him and for a fresh start, even gives him a new name, Gil-ho. Gil-ho thanks her and notices a photo in which there is a girl dying in Yi-rim's photo. He asks who she is, Cien tells him she is a devil and Gil-ho looked triggered. In the present scene, Cien is holding the same photo the one of Gil-ho and looks at it, saying that she used to remember the old Gil-ho, because the current one has changed. Gil-ho replies that he is same and adds that if it weren't for Cien, he wouldn't even be here today. Cien tells him that she's disappointed by his failures, and says he's trying to cleanse the world of devils. Gil-ho says he still believes in that. Meanwhile, Yang is at the hospital visiting Hai-ji. The doctor tells her that the surgery went fine, but Hai-ji suffered a cardiac arrest, which led her into a coma. Her physical condition is weak and could worsen at any time. The doctor adds that nothing can be said until the patient wakes up. Yang asks them to contact her first if anything happens and looks at Hai-ji with concern. At a restaurant, Lee Don meets Bai-yeol. They sit down to talk. Lee Don mentions that Bai-yeol must have had a tough time since Cien had abandoned her on a remote island, and even after walking for 5 hours, she still reported everything to him. Bai-yeol says she did that because she had made a promise to him. Lee Don tells her that not everyone keeps their promises and says he respects her for that. He wants to give her a good position. Later, Lee Don brings Bai-yeol to Chairman's house. Butler Choi asks who she is, and Lee Don introduces her as Butler Bai-yeol, the house's new butler. Butler Choi looks surprised and asks how 2 butlers can live under one roof. Just then, Yang enters. Butler Choi immediately tells Yang to sort the situation. Yang looks at Bai-yeol and asks Lee Don what she's doing here. Lee Don says he needs someone trustworthy around. Then she takes him aside to talk privately. Choi asks Bai-yeol how she knows Madam. Bai-yeol says they used to work together at the warehouse. She then gives Choi some juice to celebrate working together and starts looking around the house. Butler Choi mutters that why only innocent girls seem to end up in this house. Yang then asks Lee Don why he brought Bai-yeol back when she had already returned to her normal life. Lee Don explains that he doesn't trust Butler Choi and Cheol-soo and needs someone who can watch over Yang in his absence. Yang says she doesn't want anyone else to get hurt because of her, but Lee Don says that she seems changed now and reminds her not to forget the chairman's words to achieve your goal no matter what. He adds that since she's the lady of the house, she can tell Bai-yeol whatever she feels is right. Yang leaves and takes Bai-yeol to the room where she'll stay, the same one she used to live in before. Bai-yeol with concern asks if she's doing okay. Yang says rich people always live with a bit of anxiety and tells her to keep an eye on everyone entering or leaving the house, especially those 2. Bai-yeol asks why she doesn't just fire them if she doesn't trust them. Yang says that's because they're the ones who'll carry her message to her enemies when the time comes. Meanwhile, Butler Choi is confused who is real owner, Yang or Cien, and she secretly messages Cien, who is at her art center, saying Yang is back home. Just then, Mr. Han informs Cien that Yang is planning to hold a press conference tomorrow. But the same day, Cien's Children's Foundation fundraiser is also scheduled. He asks if he should cancel it. Cien says no, then she asks about her brother, and the secretary tells her they're still tracking him. Elsewhere, the gangster who had met the taxi driver that took Cien Wu from the hotel gets hold of the recording from him. In Muchang, at Dongmin's house, everyone is missing Yang. Ju-won isn't eating properly, so Dongmin tells him to eat, but Ju-won says he only enjoys eating when his teacher is there. The principal tells him that a new teacher is coming tonight, so he should eat well. She then tells Dongmin meet new teacher. Yang, this time, has actually arranged for a genuinely good university teacher to come. And the principal asks Dongmin to clean the farmhouse because that's where the teacher will be staying. The next day, while Dongmin is cleaning the room, he notices the board that Yang had made earlier. On it, he sees that both the police officer and Sung Tae like the supermarket lady. Then he spots his own photo, which Yang had circled, and he realizes that he misses her. Meanwhile, Lee Don comes to Yang and tells her that an internal audit is going to take place next week. Yang says there are only 15 days left until the board meeting and asks if he's kept the chairman's will safe. Lee Don replies that Cien will never be able to find it, and warns Yang that if her face gets revealed at the conference, she'll never be able to return to her old life again. The next day, Yang attends the press conference, where Sung Hee is also present. Yang introduces herself and declares that she will prevent the siblings, who have misused their power, from managing the company any longer. Sung Hee remarks that since the chairman's will hasn't been released yet, so will she be handling the company. Yang responds that the chairman's will would be revealed only during the board meeting. A reporter then asks whether she married the chairman for money or love. At that moment, Cien Wu is watching Yang on TV, and even in the supermarket, everyone is watching her interview. Yang answers the reporter, saying she married the chairman out of love, not money, and that all the rumors about her being in jail and being the chairman's bodyguard are true. Meanwhile, Cien is on her way to a children's donation event. She sends her secretary to get a drink and enters the elevator alone, where a suspicious man is already inside. As the elevator moves, Cien sees a photo of Yang's public appearance and smiles, while the man keeps staring at her menacingly. Back at the press conference, Yang continues answering questions. When reporters ask why she has been missing after chairman's death, she says she was waiting for the right time to reveal her true identity. Just then, the man from the elevator had attacked Cien. She stumbles out of the elevator, injured and bleeding, shocking everyone around before she collapses. At the same time, during the press conference, all the reporters receive a video showing Cien being attacked. Everyone begins watching it. Li Dan also sees the video, and a reporter immediately asks Yang if she has anything to do with the attack on her stepdaughter. Li Dan quickly tries to escort Yang away, but she stops and says, "Now, everything depends on the Vice President Cien Wu," before leaving the conference hall. Cien Wu, watching all of this and looks furious. At the supermarket, everyone is shocked to learn Yang's real identity. They ask Dongmin if he knew about it, but he makes an excuse, saying, she was a nice person and claims he has to go meet the new teacher, then leaves. After he leaves, one of the ladies says they've been deceived and should file a complaint with the Office of Education, but the supermarket lady defends Yang, saying, she was a good teacher. My daughter still talks about her. Maybe we should wait and see, perhaps she really is a good person. Later, Dongmin helps the new teacher move in, shows her the place she'll be staying, and gives her the key to the room. After that, Dongmin goes with the police to the place where Gil-ho had been, and the police officer says he looks completely like a ghost as they have no information about him. There, Dongmin sees a card in which a girl is being burned, as if Gil-ho was planning to burn Yang. He quickly hides that card from the police and keeps it with him. Just then, the man who attacked Cien comes to the police station and surrenders, confessing that he attacked Cien. His interrogation begins. The officer asks why he did it, and the man says he was ordered by someone and he names Kim Yongran. This information reaches Sun-hee as well, and she immediately calls Li Dan to tell him that a man named Gyo Bong has surrendered and is blaming Yang for Cien's attack. Hearing that, Li Dan is shocked and asks Yang if she knows anyone named Gyo Bong. Yang hears the name and looks worried, not answering. Li Dan understands she knows him and says they must make a plan. Li Dan tells her at home that he is her stepfather so people will suspect her. Yang says evidence could be planted, but Li Dan replies that whether it's fake or real, the public will believe it, and he knows Cien staged the attack on herself and that they fabricated evidence against Yang. He shouts at Yang, but she tells him he must find the evidence and that it's his job to find it. Li Dan gets irritated and says he's not a miracle worker, how long will he keep cleaning up her mess? He leaves angrily, saying he told the chairman to find a bodyguard with a clean past. Hearing this, Yang feels hurt and frustrated. At Dongmin's house everyone is having dinner, and the teacher starts criticizing Yang. How could she marry a much older man for money? But the principal says they shouldn't believe such things and maybe she really is a good person. Dongmin hears this, feels upset, and goes outside. He thinks about calling Yang but stops and sees Taemin, who has returned from Seoul. Taemin is packing his things to go to Seoul to stay with Haiji. Dongmin asks how Haiji is doing and tells him if things are hard he can come back home. But Taemin says he wants to stay with Haiji because for the first time someone knew about his possessed state and didn't ignore or judge him. He says he noticed how lonely Haiji is and how far she went for a friend. Then he asks Dongmin whether he misses Yang. Dongmin sighs and says he feels like he's not even allowed to miss her. Taemin tells him he should follow his heart. Dongmin says Yang is strong and will handle everything, and that he feels he would just become a burden to her. Taemin explains that there are many people trying to put her down, and if even one person stands by her she will feel comforted. He suggests Dongmin go see Yang. Dongmin remembers holding her hand, and he stops Taemin, saying he will also go to Seoul with him. Cien, who is hospitalized, receives a message from So-young saying that she has completed the job Cien gave her. After that, Cien transfers 500 million won to her, and So-young is extremely happy. Meanwhile, she is with her friend Hyuk. She gives her some money and thanks her for all the help she has given so far. She tells her that she's finally found a solid investor, and then leave happily. Elsewhere, Gangster calls Lee Don and informs him about Cien Woo's location, saying that he's sending the address and Lee Don should come there quickly. Lee Don immediately leaves for that place. At the same time, Taemin is with Haiji when suddenly a strange noise comes from the monitor. He panics and calls the doctors. The doctors rush in and check on her, and Taemin becomes terrified. Yang also hears about what happened and is about to leave home, but Baiyal stops her, saying that there are too many reporters outside and it's not safe for her to go. Yang replies that she can handle it. Baiyal then tells her that there's a man waiting outside its Dongmin. Yang goes out to meet him. AMD tells him that Haiji's condition isn't good and she needs to go to the hospital. Dongmin takes her there, where they find Taemin crying and deeply panicked. Then the doctor comes out and informs Yang that Haiji has passed the critical point and she can now meet her. They go inside, and Yang gently touches Haiji, asking her to wake up. Meanwhile, Lee Don reaches the location. The gangsters are already there. Lee Don asks them about Cien Woo and their leader. Suddenly, a bright light shines from the front, and he sees Cien standing there along with the gangsters, who have switched sides for money. Cien gives him a proposal. She tells him that very soon Yang will be arrested on murder charges, and she wants Yang to fight this battle alone, without Lee Don's help. Otherwise, Cien will file a complaint against his sister the principal for illegally hiring a teacher. Lee Don warns her not to drag his family into this, but Cien smirks and says there are no CCTVs here, and that these gangsters can kill him for money if she orders them to. Lee Don is scared for a moment but then asks her how much she would pay him to make him accept her proposal. Cien replies coldly, as much as he wants. Later, Dongmin drops Yang home. She thanks him and is about to leave when Dongmin stops her, saying he wants to tell her something. Yang tells him to say it later and turns to go, but Dongmin blurts out that he missed her and that he was worried about her. Yang tells him that she's not the person he once saw in Muchang, but Dongmin replies that she's still the same person, the one who's been deeply hurt by the world, who acts cold but has a kind heart inside. He confesses that he likes her. Yang, looking emotional, steps closer and tells him that she doesn't like him enough to give up on her dreams. She says when all of this ends, she'll leave this place and start a new life somewhere no one knows her. That's why he should stay away. She thanks him for everything and walks inside, leaving Dongmin standing there in silence. Yang enters her room, feeling heartbroken and exhausted, and with that, the episode ends. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. The next episode will be released in a few hours.